Galaxy Z Fold 5 and the Galaxy Z Flip 5 are the next best thing coming from Samsung. And we have made already tons of videos on them, but what we don't know is that the Fold 5 and the Flip 5 will still be powered by the same Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 made for Galaxy chipset as the S23 series. Now this is no bad thing though, considering that there is not going to be a Plus variant, and this is the fastest Snapdragon chip made ever. And we've seen how great it is in terms of performance and the power efficiency. So it's a great thing, but there is something big. Unlike the Galaxy Z Fold 4, which came with a slightly newer Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 compared to the 8 Gen 1 that was kind of hot and didn't really perform well. So yeah, the 8 Plus Gen 1 made by TSMC was a big one. This year though, the things are different, so I don't think there is a need for a Plus model, but rather a totally new model. Now, I will definitely gonna make a video on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, so definitely keep an eye on this channel. But we have actually the benchmarks of the Galaxy Z Fold 5 12GB of RAM variant and a Z Flip 5 with 8GB RAM variant. You can see here. The specific variant of the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, the Galaxy chipset, has a higher performing Prime core, and that is running at 3.36 GHz rather than 3.2 on the standard one. But that's not only it. It also has some improvements in the power efficiency, in the AI department or the NPU, as well as a little bit in the graphics department. But then again, you're thinking that if it's powering the S23 Ultra, then it should perform identically, right? But according to the leaked benchmarks, the new foldable somehow managed to beat even the S23 Ultra with the same chipset. That's actually pretty interesting. Now, it is also important to remember at this point that these are leaked benchmarks, so even if they are real and coming from pre-production unit, given that we are still like quite a bit months away from the Galaxy Z Fold 5 and the Z Flip 5's launch, we should take them with a pinch of salt though, like things can change. And the same thing we have seen with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 for Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra as well. So in this case, it might go higher, or it might just stay there, or maybe at the same as the S23 Ultra series. Now, as you know, the S23 series managed to reach up to about 1,550 points or so in the single core test and about 5,000 on the multi-core test. So seeing a 2,000 number on a single core test of the Galaxy Z Flip 5 or the Z Fold 5 with the same chipset, well, that's actually amazing. Now this all could also mean that because they are using a new hinge, so maybe they have more space to fit let's say a bigger vapor chamber cooling system, and that is helping it to have that kind of single core performance. Maybe. Now talking about the hinge, this hinge is actually going to be the biggest upgrade of the next foldable phones from Samsung. Believe it or not, this is the same kind of hinge used inside the Oppo Find N series devices or even Motorola's Razr devices. This hinge design actually allows the display to fold inside and create a shape like a water droplet, and that's why we're calling it a water drop hinge. This hinge will actually reduce the visibility of the crease of both the phones, as well as it will also reduce the gap when the foldable phone is closed. But that's not all it also helps in dust resistance quite a lot. We have already made a video on that, but it will not have an IP rating though, because that's a little too hard to get. But that's not only it, there are going to be more changes. You can see my recent videos on them. And yes, if you want, you can get some crazy cool wallpapers up on my website. Definitely visit my website, joindavid.com, a link down below. Here we have something even more interesting. Well, tipster Yogesh Bera has claimed that Samsung would rather launch an interesting foldable phone rather than a fan edition phone. But I don't know why they would skip the S23 FE though, because that's a cheaper device that is targeted towards a different audience entirely. Maybe the S23 FE will come next year. Now, this wouldn't be the first time we have heard about a tri-folding device. Samsung has previously demonstrated a tech while also filing a patent for it back in 2020. In fact, they also showcased the same technology at MWC of this year. So either way, we might just even see that. It's a thing that will have two hinges rather than one on the Galaxy Z Fold 5. And it will definitely be interesting to see what it will be like. So yeah, that's about it. Until the next one, bye and take care.